Hey, I'm Jeff, and I make music with my brother.
Hi, I'm Jonathan, and I also make music with my brother.
Together, we are Ekko and Sidetrack, and we make music that sounds like this.
And this.
And even this. This podcast is about music, creativity, and everything in between.
Welcome to A Band Apart with Ekko and Sidetrack. Today's podcast is brought to you by our friends at Short Order Burger. When I want a burger, I want it quickly. I don't want to be the guy standing in line getting hangry with a bunch of other hangry people. So, I'm going to download the new Short Order ordering app and use it to order and skip the line when I pick up my order today. It's straightforward to use, and by becoming a member, you can actually earn points for every purchase. For every $1 you spend, you'll earn 10 points, which can be used for special offers or in-app credit. And if you're getting weekly burgers, my friends, that could be quite a lucrative amount of points. Go download it in the App Store today and take advantage of it. And as always, don't forget to say the code word Ekko and Sidetrack at checkout in store for 10% off your order. Big up.
Jonathan, you just did a COVID test. What were the results?
They were negative.
That's positive. You were concerned because...
I think I'm just a bit run down. Sleep hasn't been very great for me.
You got very excited the other night.
I did get very excited the other night, Jeff.
So you didn't sleep very well.
I didn't sleep very well at all. I think it's a combination of being run down. One of the guys at work was a bit sick. I may or may not have shared an apple with him. Pretty un-COVIDy. But it was a natural apple that had fallen from a tree that he picked up. It was like a gift from God.
If it came from God's green earth, Jonathan.
Exactly. But yeah. So the reason I was excited and couldn't sleep was because we're going to New Zealand.
New Zealand, we're going to be inside you from the 23rd
of April.
And we're going to be performing alongside Camo and Crooked, Mephius, Subsonic, Paige Julia, and we're going all over.
Wellington, Auckland, and Christchurch.
Yeah, shout out to the New Zealand Massive. Check our socials and you'll be able to find a ticket link. And lots of love. We hope to see you soon.
Hell yeah. I'm so excited, man. Like, that's what I was excited about. I couldn't get to sleep. I was had finished the day in the studio and finished the day at work and was lying in bed, and I started thinking about mixes and started thinking about seeing people and hugging people and
that's exciting.
Talking on the microphone, upping my mic game.
Nice. What are you going to say?
I think I'm going to say, hey, what up, Big NZ? It's your boys, Ekko and Sidetrack.
All right, yeah, it probably needs work. Your mic game's actually very strong, just not in a club. Because you're too podcasty.
Exactly. Well, but that's the thing. I never.
Hello, everyone.
I'm too. What's the word? Commentarily. I MC.
In an editorial manner. This one's a banger. I really like the oomph of the snare.
Yeah, rather than
listen to the top end of this one.
Everybody throwing hands up in the air. I can do it, but I just feel weird about doing it. But people like Dimension, Metric, even Carl, people that originally their game wasn't about talking into a mic and now do it so well, they give me more confidence to do it. And we do it. When we perform.
I often do it.
Yeah. I think the last time I did it was at Reunited.
When you kind of said hello, thank you for everyone. And it's already you've thought about it too much because it needs to be very in the moment.
Yeah, I do think about it way too much. And do think it's weird because I'm comfortable talking into a mic in any other way. I'm emceeing.
You're actually quite comfortable talking into a mic.
But not in the kind of
aggressive, hype way.
Hype way.
Yeah, which is a completely different skill.
It is a very different skill.
But you're negative, and that's, like I said, positive.
Yeah,
that's
I'm
really
negative.
Good.
I think it's just a combination of sleep. And also remember that there are still flus around. There are still
colds.
There are still all sorts of things.
Mm.
And I think a lot of people have been so COVID focused that every time something kind of happens, you do think, ooh, is that COVID? Or most likely it's probably you haven't slept enough and you got a little bit of a bug.
Yeah.
But again, we do the tests and do our due diligence. Like I had to cancel that lesson last night because you don't want to risk
being that person
that's like, oh, I gave it to you, or I gave it to the guy I was going to teach last night, or I gave it to Carl, or you have to do your due diligence. Unfortunately, it fucking is annoying, especially when it coincides with things you want to do. But
did you just say stings you want to do?
Yeah, I want to sting. But yeah, I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm okay. Feeling pretty good. Getting excited for Europe. Getting excited for New Zealand. Getting excited for the Wizards of Oz show at the Court
in Perth. That's going to be 23rd. Our first Perth show of 2022.
Yeah, it's the first Perth show in a long time. Again, tickets
in our social media. Links, bios.
Yeah. Also, I've been thinking a lot recently about the concept of deep work and trying to get that deep work because I get a major satisfaction from it, and I get really frustrated when I don't get it. And that is like uninterrupted, focused time. And we've got a few tunes at the moment that need that. And I feel like I've been chopping and changing between tasks, whether it's getting to the studio a bit later and then having to leave a bit earlier, or having other things on my plate to do, or trying to solve, quote unquote problems before. I'm like, oh, I'll solve this issue with SonarWorks before I start producing. And then an hour later, I come up against the solution. And the solution is there is no solution. It just doesn't work very well in the way that we wanted to use it. And you're like, oh, fucking what a giant waste of time. That's really frustrating. And then you spend 2 hours trying to get into the song and understand where everything's sitting. And then all of a sudden you got an hour before you have to leave. And that's frustrating. Because, some of these songs deserve, 8, 10 hour stints. And that's what's going to take to unlock them. And, And it's,
so how do you get that time?
Yeah, just prioritize, and that's all. But it's a double frustration because it's frustrating not to do the time because it makes me feel really good. Like it's like doing the work. That gives me great satisfaction.
Yeah, it's satisfaction.
But it's also doubly frustrating because I'm like, man, this song is no further along than where it was. And it needs to be.
Isn't it? It's funny that even though and we talk about it all the time, and we've been talking about it for years, that you have a bad day, the next day might be better, might not be better, but the day after is usually better. Even though you know that, it's still so hard to let go of the frustration of the day to allow you to have that better day.
I can normally start a new day fresh. It's when I get 2 days in a row, or I just don't get it that week or something like that, because sometimes I see sand just going through the hourglass. I'm like, why can't I just get in there and focus? Sometimes I drift off to sleep and I'm like, if I didn't need to sleep, I'd be in the studio. And that's a massive ingredient for burnout. But at the moment, I just feel like things need to be done and they need time.
Yeah.
Which means that we need to give it time. And just the last few days, I feel like I haven't been able to do that. And that is somewhat frustrating. But that's the honest answer.
Okay. I'm excited for today to spend some time on music as I've been working.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to spend more time tomorrow and on Saturday.
Yeah, as am I.
And getting the things out of the way. I've been finding on Wednesdays and Thursdays, Thursday mornings are a bit of a cluster because we record the podcast and then usually it's the first time we might have seen each other in the week and we discuss some other things and it's whatever. But I think Friday and Saturday are kind of doing that on a Thursday allows you to be more free on a Friday and a Saturday.
Yeah, and I'm also grateful that I even got any work to do yesterday, because previously Wednesday was a day where I worked in a job rather than working in the studio. So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
But moving away from our diaries, is there anything else that's been tickling your pickle in the last week?
Tickling my biffin?
Sure.
Yes. A listener responded to the true crime discussion we had last week.
Oh, yes.
And they said they felt personally attacked in a joking way. But they said that they understood our angle, but we should try to listen to some true crime podcasts and see what you think. So I listened to one.
What was it?
And the one I listened to was my favorite murderer.
Yeah, it's those two chicks that break it down.
Yeah. And I really enjoyed the episode.
Yeah.
And I think while I wouldn't want to listen to it as much as I listen to other podcasts, I enjoyed it because to me, that's not, although that's true crime, but it's two women, one of them's a comedian, and they discuss the murder and muse on the murder, and they also have a massive catch up in the first half, and they just talk, and it's very like non-produced.
Yeah.
Rather than some other cold case true crime, which I think we maybe should have distinguished a bit more between them, where there's like maybe music or it's kind of got a dramatic element.
Well, I like those as well. I think the main point, or at least my takeaway, was that if you listen to nothing but true crime, it's going to put you in a more fearful state.
Yeah, nothing but true crime.
Yeah, so
But, yeah.
True crime is fine.
But it was interesting to...
Bumper stickers made.
True crime is fine.
True crime is fine.
But I listened to, My Favorite Murderer yesterday, and it was quite enjoyable. And it was actually about the murder of Natalie Wood. Natalie Wood is the actress, Robert Wagner's wife. Robert Wagner.
Fell in the water?
She fell in the water.
Was Christopher Walken on the boat?
Christopher Walken was on the boat. And it was interesting because...
is that classified as a murder or is it an accident?
It was classified not as a... It was classified as suspicious when the case reopened in the 2000s. And as of I think 2011 or 2017, Robert Wagner is a person of interest. And her death is not... It's not a homicide, and it's not a accident. It's like they don't know what caused her death. But it was fascinating because I knew the story. I think John told me the story.
Yeah, that's a very John story.
And
was who else was on the boat? Was Jack Nicholson on the boat?
No, Jack Nicholson wasn't on the boat. But I remember John maybe saying that Jack Nicholson was on the boat.
No,
someone else was on the boat. But this was good because it gave all the details.
Great.
Because I'd heard about it and I thought that Christopher Walken and Robert Wagner murdered this chick. Basically. But that's not what happened at all, or allegedly what happened. And it had much more details, and it turns out I don't think Christopher Walken was that involved. He might have actually been in love with Natalie Wood because they were working on a film together at the time.
Give me a good Christopher Walken
accent.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't done a Christopher Walken accent in a while. Two mice fall into a bucket of cream. The first mouse, he drowns. The second mouse churns that cream into butter and walks out. Ladies and gentlemen, from this day forth, I am that second mouse.
That was pretty good.
I need to work on it. I said that at my fucking 16th birthday. As my 16th birthday speech. And I then picked up a giant bucket of...
cream?
No, a giant bucket of punch and drank... You know those plastic storage containers that are like a rectangle?
Yes. Tupperware.
No, it's probably about a meter by half a meter
like a
and
tub,
quite deep,
plastic,
like a tub. That was one of those filled with punch, and I lifted one of those up, and it was the corners were moving back and forth. and I drank it and spilt heaps on me and fucking spewed and passed out probably by like maybe 11:30.
Ladies and gentlemen, the second mouse.
I had a bigger 16th birthday than I had an 18th
Not as big as your 30th.
or a 21st. Not as big as my 30th.
Grilligan's Island. What a concept.
Yeah, but it was really cool to listen to about and to hear about it and to kind of get more details.
Can you give us the cliff notes?
Robert Wagner and Natalie Wood. Natalie Wood is like a Hollywood star. She was in Miracle in 34th Street, but the original one, I think, as a child.
Okay.
She's the kid, I think.
Cool.
She grows up. She's in a bunch of stuff. Marries someone when she's 16, but not Robert
Sounds
Wagner,
legal.
but someone else. They have a divorce. I think they don't have a marriage when they're 16. She's in Rebel Without a Cause with James Dean.
Okay.
She has a good life. Some things happen to her. At 25, she meets Robert Wagner, and I think it's kind of the studio suggests that they get married, that it would be a strong marriage. They get married. I think they have some kids. Then they get divorced, and then she remarries someone else. Wagner remarries someone else, and then they get divorced, and they come back together. And so when she's in her 40s, Wagner's maybe in his 50s or 60s.
Is Burt Reynolds on the boat?
No. But Burt Reynolds is on a separate boat somewhere
He's
in
on a
that
boat
area.
nearby.
But they come together. So this is like they've already been married and divorced, and they're coming back together as like when she's like 42, 43.
Yeah. Someone else is on the boat. I feel like
The captain is the other guy on the boat.
No, I'm not getting a premonition, but the other guy, Warren Beatty. Is Warren Beatty adjacent to all this?
No, Warren Beatty is the guy, her first husband.
Okay.
That's how Warren Beatty's involved.
All right.
And then, so they're older, they're married, but they fight a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Wagner's started doing this TV show called Heart to Heart. So he's having a second rise as an older, handsome man. She's in her 40s. She's starting to age out, unfortunately, because that's what happens to women.
Especially in that era.
Yeah, fuck yeah. So she's kind of going down, but then she stars in a movie with Christopher Walken. And Christopher Walken is a fucking very handsome man.
I don't think Chris has ever been handsome.
No, like he's a beautiful guy. In the 70s and 80s, he was like
Give me another Chris and say something that he would say in that era.
Get me another drink or I'll kick you off this boat.
It won't be murder.
It won't be murder if me and Rob have decided to.
Your body needs to go.
That's a better walking. It's got more.
I think you're walking. I can't.
I got a younger walking maybe. You need your body. My body is not broken unless
Natalie, there's going to be a problem if you. I can't get there.
Nat. I told you. No ice in my bourbon. Don't make me get Rob and kick you off this fucking boat. Yeah, so...
No, Natalie, it's not a pleasure craft. The jet ski's for children. You're not a child, are you? It's not always so up and down. He sometimes just talks like a normal man. No. But he does have weird emphasis.
Leisure. Yeah, so...
Get in the water, Nat.
It's not cold.
It's beautiful in there.
I promise you won't die.
All this is allegedly, and sorry if this is offensive to some people.
Other crazy thing, so her mum was a show mum. All she wanted was her child to be really successful. She allegedly was raped by a director or a producer when she was like 16.
Mm-hmm.
And in like an audition, kind of like a
rape?
that fucking who's the guy?
Harvey Weinstein.
Harvey Weinstein situation. Come in for an
It
audition.
was a real Hollywood scandal version of the podcast.
Come in and have an audition and discuss this role.
Yeah.
And then he sexually assaulted her, and then she left. And she tells her mum, and her mum's like, "This can never get out. You need to just move on because it'll ruin your career." So that happens to her, I think, when she's like 16.
To Natalie Wood.
Fucked up. Yeah.
God, man, fuck that place.
And then
That's horrible.
so the other thing that's really creepy is that her mum takes her to a fortune teller, I think when she's quite young. And the fortune teller says, "Beware of dark water." And that creates a kind of phobia of water for Natalie.
Can she swim?
I'm not too sure.
Okay, and they suspect that Chris is having a time.
So, Chris and Natalie are clearly getting along on set on the TV show and apparently openly flirting. Wagner's annoyed by this.
Hey, Nat, come back to the caravan.
But for some reason,
I've lost them.
they decide to go on like a boat trip together. And the night before, they go to a restaurant. They're all drinking heavily, and they're all Natalie's flirting with Chris
So far.
Walken openly. Wagner gets upset. They all leave. So there's already tension. The next night, they're on the boat. They're drinking. Same thing happens. Wagner and Natalie start fighting. I think Wagner breaks a bottle because he's angry.
Mm-hmm.
Chris goes back to his room. They continue to fight.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's said is like, apparently Wagner said like, Natalie wanted to spend the night on the island anyway because it was kind of, the water it was rough and it was like, it wasn't nice. They couldn't get a mooring, so they was just in water. So I think she wanted to go back to the island. So maybe, I think Robert Wagner says, "Oh, just if you want to go back, or something like that." And what's thought that's happened is that she tries to get on the dinghy and slips in because she's drunk and drowns. Either way, Wagner leaves her, goes and has some scotch with the captain. And the captain's like, "Have you seen Natalie?" And he's like, nah. And then they realize that she's missing. And then they don't call the cops for like 2 hours, or the harbour master for like 2 hours. And because Wagner's like, she's probably just in the hotel on the mainland. It's fine. And then her body's found the next morning.
Where?
In the water, bobbing up and down. And they find on the dinghy nail marks. So a lot of people think that she was killed because they all lie at when the first police interview happens. They don't talk about the fight. They say the bottle was broken accidentally from alcohol. And in the 90s, they all kind of go each separate ways, although the captain and Robert Wagner start to still are in each other's lives. And then the captain starts drunk calling Natalie Wood's sister and is like, "I need to tell you something. Like, I lied about that night. This is what happened. They had a fight. He was mad." And he doesn't know if something happened that Robert did or whatever. And then that kind of causes the case to be reopened a bit down the track, and it's really interesting.
Has Chris ever been?
He's never publicly talked about it, or talked about it very little. And so it's cool because these two women are thinking, kind of muse on the idea that Robert Wagner did it, one. But then they also say, Natalie Wood's daughter, who is Robert Wagner's daughter, says like, he didn't do it. My mum got into an accident. and they talk about both sides, and they say how it would be so terrible to be accused of your wife's murder, especially under circumstances where you were being a dick. You know, Robert Wagner's not the nicest guy if he's being pissed and yelling at his wife. And then how maybe would Chris Walken feel that he maybe was in love with Natalie Wood, and he was like, I can get you out of this situation. Like, just come be with me. Fuck this guy. But it's all hearsay and no one really knows. And it's just that Hollywood drama, that mystery, that almost stories are created because it's a land of story creation.
Yeah, I think that particular murder or incident is kind of interesting because of the layer of Hollywoodness.
And it's like, you know these people.
You know of these people.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
The second story, because they do two murders, was, and the reason why James chose this episode was...
Shout out to James, by the way. Hi, James.
Hey, James. She is because the murderer in the second story was called Sidetrack. And that was his name because he was a hobo in the 90s that would travel on trains.
A grifter.
Yeah. And like it went into the community of hobos, and they're called hobos, and it's not a derogatory term, because so they're the guys that jump on the trains, go city to city, work and move on. And it was originally coined after the Civil War because you had a lot of men out of work that would do that and go like city to city, depending what farms had crop at that time.
Yeah.
And they started to be called hoe boys because they would take their own hoe with them, and then that got transferred to hobos. But yeah, this guy was he killed like 25 people.
He's a piece of shit.
Yeah, and was called Sidetrack. That was his like street name.
Fucking hell.
But yeah, it was good. I wanted to ask you as well, would you, actually maybe before I ask you, we'll start the camera again.
Okay.
In the spirit of Sidetrack being a murderer, if I murdered someone, would you help me cover it up?
Hypothetically, because if this is ever used against me, I want to say yes, but I think I'd have a real tough time depending on what it was. So if it was, I don't know, I can't give you an example of like, this would be a yes, this would be a no. In the heat of the moment, you turn up my house with a body in a trunk and you're like, man, as your brother, I offer to help, but I'm also going to be like, I want to know what happened because I want to also help you find the help that you need. Like, I wish I could say just a blanket, yep, man, I'll bury that body with you. But at the same time, if you've made such a boo-boo.
That's a big boo-boo.
That's a big boo-boo. If you
murdering someone's maybe the biggest boo-boo.
I think so. If you've made such a mistake, I want to know why and get some context and understand it so that you can be best looked after in the next section of your life, rather than just being like, I'll help you put that body in a box and let's never talk about it again, because that's not going to work either. No. Because that's going to be like,
fuck that.
Yeah, I believe the reality of that is not going to work. So I'm not just like, let's cover it up and shut up.
I can't imagine a situation where I would murder someone that maybe isn't you. Just kidding. No, I can't imagine that.
His words.
I can't imagine murdering someone and not being like, yeah, I did it. I did do this. I feel like I would have a hard time saying that I didn't do something of that magnitude.
I feel sick kind of just talking about it.
Like
the act of like, you can't imagine what it'd be like, but we've all done stuff that, that you regret. And like on a very small scale, can you imagine like the grossness of of taking someone's life and being like,
I think I'd kill myself straight away. That's how I feel.
But even that makes me feel gross as
But
well.
like, I've done things and instantly regretted them. I think we both have.
Yeah.
And being like, I could have just not said that, or I could have just not gone down that road, or I could have just not done that.
Impulse control.
Yeah.
And I think,
and I don't think we really, I don't think we have it in us to kill like that. But let's give it a scenario that I think we could potentially argue for. So something happened, someone does something to someone we love. Say we have kids. I had this conversation with Yessa the other day, I think, and we got to the conclusion that we would help in this situation. I have kids. I have a daughter. And that daughter is murdered and sexually assaulted by someone.
Yep.
And that person gets out.
Serves their time and gets out. And there was a case like this. There was a person who that happened. Then I believe their father saw them in an airport, or he planned to intersect with them.
Yeah.
And he stabbed the person, and then the judge gave that person a lesser sentence.
Yeah. And I absolutely don't think that retribution can be found this way. Like, I really don't. Like, even in such a horrid circumstance like that. But I do understand the
anger of revenge.
The anger of revenge, and kind of do think there's an element of, while it won't give you salvation, absolutely not. In fact, I think it will make it worse. There is an element in me that's like, that person shouldn't, if they do that thing, they shouldn't be allowed to be alive anymore.
Yeah.
So therefore, if it's me or if it's someone else, someone has to make that person go away.
And you think, like, taking justice into your own hands is what you do? You wouldn't let the universe sort them out in a kind of karmic cycle?
In that situation,
yeah, it would be so fucking
I
hard.
think I couldn't. Like, have you ever experienced someone you really don't like, and you know that is a bit of a piece of shit, win?
Yeah.
And how much that's kind of like, sometimes that's a little bit annoying. I'm like, but why is that happening to that person? Because I know that they're actually,
if they knew the truth.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Now imagine if this guy got out and he became a born again Christian. And he was like out there proselytizing, and then he got
By the way, in my head, this guy is played by Jake Busey.
Yes, perfect. Jake Busey. So Jake Busey gets out, not the real Jake Busey,
the actor. He
Jake
plays
Busey.
plays that character in several movies. Psychopath.
So, I'm thinking about him in Contact. Great movie.
Oh, I'm thinking about him in I can't remember.
So he gets out and he gets on the straight and narrow and starts getting Instagram following and starts to become famous. And he says, I did this thing. And maybe it's not the first time he's done it, but I regret it so much.
And so his story and the thing that makes him famous is the redemption from doing the bad thing.
And I'm all for redemption. I think our culture at the moment is too much about not allowing people for forgiveness, redemption, letting go. But in that scenario, if that happened to my daughter or my son, I would find it very hard.
Oh, yeah.
And especially if he's getting kudos for that. You know, people remember his name but aren't remembering my daughter's name, which often happens to victims of either serial killers or murderers. You know, everyone talks about Ted Bundy. Everyone knows who that guy is. But how many people know all his victims' name?
Yeah.
And the forgottenness that a family would feel being like, well, my child was murdered and no one fucking cares. But yet this Ted Bundy guy is celebrated in some way in culture.
And lives on in infamy.
And that would get to me.
Yeah. Oh, it would absolutely get to me. It would fucking kill me.
So.
Do I kill them?
It's gotten to me.
Mm-hmm.
I've killed that guy.
Okay.
in a way I've planned out, similar to Gerard Butler in Law-Abiding Citizen.
You've done a pretty damn good job.
I've done a good job. Probably not as slick as him, though. It would involve a lot more milk crates and poorly tied piano wire, but I'd do it.
Yeah.
I got the body in my boot.
Yeah.
I come to your house.
Does anyone know you've done it?
No.
But he's a public figure.
But he's somewhat of a public figure. And of course, I'm getting a phone call in 6 hours when someone realizes that he's not there.
Oh, so you think you're going to be suspect number one?
I think so. Well, me and some of the other parents.
Okay, yeah, we get a boat.
So I come to your house and I say, Jeff, I've killed Jake Busey. And I need you.
Gary gonna say?
I need you to help me.
Give me a Gary Busey. Can you do a Gary Busey? Nah, probably not gonna come off good. Smiling with all your teeth and saying nothing.
Utah, give me two.
Give me two.
I love Gary Busey. Gary, yeah.
He's gone bananas. Back to the story. Yes, you come to my house.
Yeah. And yeah, would you
What
help?
time of day is it?
I want to say 11:30.
In the nighttime?
Yeah. You're either just about to sleep or you've just finished like reading and you and Holly are like just drifting off. It's so comfortable and you just hear this like
And you come to the door and you say, I've killed Jake. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'd want to hear the talk. I'd want to talk. And then I'd be like, where is it happening? And then, yeah, I'd probably make a coffee and probably wouldn't need a coffee. Actually, the adrenaline would be high. And then,
what a rush.
I'd try and help. Yeah. But I'd also be talking to you along the way. Like, are you going to admit to this? What's going to happen? What's your strategy? Because getting rid of the body is one thing, but they're still going to come after you.
I feel like I'm a good actor. But
You're a great actor.
If in the moment, if police knocked on my door and they were like, Jonathan, I suppose you've already heard by now, but Jake Busey is missing. We need to ask you some questions. I'd be like,
I did it. No one's that. You're a psychopath if you can withstand that kind of thing. Also, the police aren't knocking on the door and being like, hey, buddy, come with us. They're going to fucking arrest you under duress, and it's going to be like
if they think I've done it. And
yeah.
God forbid someone's like, they saw a Toyota Lancer.
Lancer.
Driving.
Here's your first problem. The witness can't be tested because she doesn't know the difference between a Mitsubishi and a Toyota.
Oh, yeah, whatever. A Lancer. For some reason, I'm driving a Lancer when I'm 45.
Yep.
They saw a drive. Like, if there's any sort of evidence against me, I think I'd just be like, fuck. All right, maybe I would just cop it. And be like, I did it, and this is why I did it. And he deserved to die.
Yeah, I think you'd have to be completely honest with it. Yeah, I'd like to know more reasoning. I can't just say...
I'm not rocking up with a random body and just being like, I killed someone.
Yeah.
I need you to help me. And you'd be like, yep.
I'd love to say, I'm like, no questions asked, brother, brothers for life. But I'm like,
yeah, no.
Sorry, man. What
the fuck?
What's going on?
I thought we were working in the studio tomorrow.
So I suppose we're not going to go to New Zealand then? Should I just go? Is that... I feel like you could have some problems here.
Yeah, I think... Yeah, I just don't like that
going
idea.
to New Zealand really soon. Get on a plane.
I don't like that idea. It's those people that like kill someone and then like go to a different country or.
Yeah, but what a fucking nightmare of guilt! What on your conscience? What a fucking nightmare!
Yeah.
What a horrible, horrible thing to
have to
carry with you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
I hope no one ever has to.
Nah, I don't. Nah.
Do that kind of have that. I hope you never have to. I hope no one I know ever has to carry that kind of thing. And if they,
yeah, me too.
If they are, keep it to yourself because I want plausible deniability.
Yeah.
Because it's a horrible feeling. I think of all the beauty that you miss out on by holding a black devil inside you.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about holding things in that's just annoyance or anger or frustration or anything. But imagine it's something like that.
Holly and I are reading a really good book at the moment. It's called Your Head is a Houseboat. I'm actually going to buy a copy for the family. It's by a guy called Struthless.
First name's Truth?
And I think that's his like Instagram handle or something. But he's an illustrator and he's an interesting guy. He's Australian, and he basically talks about it's like pop psychology for the people that aren't reading Tara Brach and Brene Brown and listening to podcasts and stuff about this. It's a bit more of like entry level, but it covers some great topics, and it also presents the information in a really fun way. So already your guard is down. It's not a thick book that's like
super heady.
Super heady and looks like work. But one of the chapters is, well, the concept being that your head is a houseboat that you have to tend to and look after, and you're on the river of life that's going to hit the ocean. And the metaphor actually stretches really well. And one of the things he talks about is that you've got freeloaders on your houseboat. And those freeloaders are, your teacher in high school that said, that's not very good. And she's just there in a roomy houseboat going, that's not very good. That's not very good. And then you got your older brother who said, fuck off, get out of my room. You can't play with this. Like, that's gross. You're dumb at that. And you've got old girlfriends that just said, I want to be friends. They've got, never were girlfriends. You've got, parents saying like, oh, that's great.
You're not very good at that. Do you want to try something else? All those little...
And it's not even, not all negative. It's just like, it's all just things.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really good metaphor to think of those things as freeloaders that are sitting there, because they're in everyone's head. And what made me think of it is just like, killing someone or doing something atrocious like that is the ultimate freeloader.
Yeah.
Something you're not going to be able to get rid of. Because one of the things he talks about being able to get rid of is write down the scenario, like who they are, the scenario, and then kind of say what the actual truth of the matter was. Because someone's saying, I remember a teacher saying to me once, wow, Jeff, your cover page is really, really good. It would be even better if you colored within the lines. And I just know that. And so I'm like, oh, that kind of stings, but it also makes me go, I've got to be neater. And so it encourages, it's not just, I will always color within the lines. It knocks onto things like perfectionism and all these kinds of things.
Yeah.
So, to write down some of those scenarios and to think about how they affect you now, and then to write about the truth. I'm a fucking kid. I'm allowed to color out of the lines. I'm allowed to shit on the piece of paper if I want to. In the name of art, it's all subjective. But being able to write them down and let go of them, essentially, is important to clear out your houseboat. And he, uses the metaphor. He says, these people are all having a party that you don't want them there because it's noisy, it's distracting, it's your houseboat. If you don't want to clean it out, you can completely just distract yourself with other things. But it's really important that you start looking at these things, because as you work through them a little bit, some of them are very simple, some will be more hard, but as you work through them, you essentially say goodbye. And they might yell their thing as they're leaving, but you say goodbye and they're gone. And they might come back, but you're slowly pushing them out for good.
But they're weighing down the boat.
They're weighing down the boat.
As they drop off, the boat gets a lot lighter.
It gets a lot lighter, and you get more space for everything else, including the positive.
And houseboats aren't that big.
No. And this one's got lots of great rooms with metaphors and stuff like that in it. So it's really cool. And I think I'm going to buy your house a copy, because I think everyone in the Hansons should read it.
Thank you.
And it's fun.
That sounds like a great book that I definitely can get on board with.
Whoa, great pun. Jonathan, speaking of getting on board with things to do with the mind, I have an appointment with a psychologist.
Well,
so I better go.
Yes.
But thank you for your conversation. As
thank
always.
you for yours.
Very wise, astute, And I don't think my mind was ever too far in the no category for true crime. As I said, I just think it's a bad build-up of fear-based stuff to consume all the time.
Yeah.
But
I still agree with that statement.
yeah,
It was just nice to, I don't know, it was nice to listen to some, I guess. But I still, it hasn't really changed my mind on it.
yeah. It's sometimes nice to dip your toe in the water.
Of Nazareth.
Shout out to Natalie Wood.
Oof.
James, if you haven't, please check out The Jinx. It's a HBO series. Anyone can check it out, but James in particular, that's my favorite
Yeah.
piece of true crime.
Absolutely. And a fucking psycho story.
Yeah, and I remember watching that, and I was just like, I can't shut up about The Jinx, and everyone was like, you should check out How to Make a Murderer or The Staircase, and I was like, shut up. The Jinx is superior product.
Yeah. How to Make a Murderer made me, I think I learnt about the story of it, and I didn't want to learn anymore.
Yeah,
because it makes me sad. Like, it's really like, I hate falsely accused young people and
horrible.
potentially have like mental disabilities, and like he's like a scapegoat. I can't get on with that stuff.
Neither can I.
We're sweet souls, Jeff.
We are, and I'm trying to be sweeter, trying to be more moral, and the same way that if you do more bad stuff, then you get knocked into the bad world, and you can't, and you just even a good decision won't get you back out. But a bad decision doesn't seem very bad because it's like, that's just what I do.
Yeah.
I think the more good decisions you make, even a small bad decision, you're like, oh, that doesn't feel right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, yeah, I stole $5 from you. No, not really. So I think it's good to be good, and
It's bad to be bad.
it's bad to be bad. And if you want more nuggets like that, subscribe to the YouTube and come to New Zealand.
And on the podcast app.
New Zealand.
Also, if you enjoy the podcast, everybody come to New Zealand. If you enjoy the podcast, do leave a review.
Yeah, that really helps.
That
it means,
helps us massively on iTunes or through your podcast app or even on Spotify. I think
you might
can
be able to
leave
do
them.
reviews, 5-star thing.
Or whatever you
5-star rating.
feel.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to give us a 4-star rating, do whatever you want.
But tell us why. Also, if you want to get in touch, you know where we are. We live on the socials. And thanks very much for all of the interactions we've had with the recent music. And we've got more stuff coming up. And it's really exciting. It feels like the career and the things are starting to take off again.
It's feeling more positive.
Yeah. And that's really positive. I need a better word than positive. Maybe you can chop one in. That's more... I've got nothing. It's positive. I need to leave, and I love you all, especially you.
See you, buddy. I love you,
buddy.
too. Thanks for listening to this week's podcast. We are Ekko and Sidetrack on all social media. We've recently updated our YouTube. Go and give that a subscribe so you can keep up to date with all the latest video podcasts. And follow us on Spotify too so you can keep up to date with all our latest music releases. Big up.